Hi Sharmati, how are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. How about you?
I'm good too. Thank you for asking. Can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shanmati Janathan.
Mm.
I've completed Bachelor's of Engineering in the year 2015. My total IT experience is 7 years. I started my career as an associate in Cognizant Technology Solutions. Then the roles and responsibilities will be manual tester. I'll be preparing the test cases by going through the requirement. And also I'll be doing the execution in both HPLM and Jira tools, test management tools. And also I worked in agile methodology. Then I have prepared the requirement usability matrix. Then the domains which I've worked are finance, insurance, and also life science. Then I've joined in Tech Mahindra. There the roles and responsibilities will be like test lead. So there I've handled a team of two. So they'll be reporting to me. So I'll be giving tasks to them, and also I prepared. I'm doing the RPA testing there in Automation Anywhere platform. So I was there in part of all the RPA testing. I'll be taking part in all the phases of RPA life cycle, like discovery stage, uh, testing phase, and also the deployment, and
Mm.
that's it. Yeah.
Mm. So, do you develop or design bots, or you just test the bots are working fine or not?
Uh, I'll be testing. I'll be taking care of the testing part in the project.
Mm. Okay. So, how do you test those bots, those RPA bots?
Yeah. Normally, once we get the requirement right, as it is a agile methodology, we have the PDD and SDD
Mm.
documents with us. So based on those requirements, I'll be estimating with the test plan.
Mm.
Then we will be proceeding with the simultaneously the test data preparation along with the test case development based on those bots, based on those requirements against the bot which is developed. Okay. Once it is completed, and we'll be getting the developed bots, so that I'll be starting the test case execution in those bots by running the bots and monitoring it as it is attended one. And also, I'll be doing a bulk testing as well to check the peak load for that particular application is working. Then once it is completed, I'll be preparing the requirement usability matrix for checking the test coverage of that particular application.
Sounds good. So, every time, whatever bot you test, do they run as expected in the production environment?
We face some issues in the browser part and all. In some browsers, normally we will test in the Edge browser. If if
Mm.
if the application is tested in Chrome now, the performance of that particular bot will be more. Or even say for some cases, what happened na, in testing environment it works fine. In
Mm.
production, the load is also high, so that particular application performance will be less. So it takes time to load a single page. For it takes more time to load that particular page,
Mm.
the browser thing and all.
Mm. Okay. Consider a simple bot that you have created. It might be having basic file folder related commands. Then it will be opening some web page. It will be extracting data from that web page. Which tool do you use? Automation Anywhere?
Automation Anywhere, yes,
Okay.
right.
So maybe smart recorder or web recorder you have in that
Yeah.
object cloning command. So that you will be using, and you will be taking the data from that web page. Maybe you are extracting a data from a table control, right?
Hmm.
Now it is running fine in the test environment. You have tested it multiple times, endlessly, right? You have signed off that particular thing. It is not working in the production environment. What can be the reasons behind that? So apart from browser issues, what else issues? So what other issues
The
you? Ah.
number of users in production environment may vary against the test environment,
Mm.
and also we have certain data that are confident as it is in the production. We have some data dependencies with the users. Um, then that's it
Mm.
so far. The peak load, if certain period month end now, the load of that particular application usage is also higher in the production environment comparatively with the test environment. As we do some bulk testing in the test environment, some kind of performance issue will happen in production.
Okay. So there can be multiple reasons. See, one reason can be if it is including some file folder related commands, then in the production environment, that permission might not be there with the bot. Maybe some administration,
Yeah,
yeah,
user privileges,
which he
right?
or she would not have been granted because it's a production environment, which is why the bot might be failing. Second thing might be the browser issues are fine. Sometimes the browsers versions are getting changed. Third thing can be there might be some code changes, right? So in an object loading command, you might would have used ID or XPath in the search criteria, right? But if the ID or XPath itself are changes, when there are like locator changes, locator related changes in the production environment,
That
then
also.
also those bots will not work, right? Fourth is the timing issues. So as the performance in the production environment, what will happen? Generally, those are server related machines, right? So one server will be having multiple users running their profiles. So as you are mentioning, performance of that actually servers are not up to the mark because you will have to keep them upgraded. You will have to do a lot of support and maintenance kind of thing on those machines until unless those are cloud machines, right? So those things you will have to do. So performance will be low. So generally bots then again would fail on these kind of things, right? Then fifth thing can be uh you were telling about Edge browser, right? So maybe if that plugin, Automation Anywhere plugin itself has not been supported or it's not been installed or it's having some compatibility issues, then also those kind of things can happen, right? Or some pop-ups might appear, irrelevant pop-ups in between whenever you are trying to extract the data from that table control. So then also the issues might come up. Okay. Now, how will you resolve these? How will you make sure that such issues don't come again?
Yeah, as you mentioned, right, we before deploying the code into production, we do some access checklist whether the particular user is having access to that folder or a data to fetch those data and enter into production browser. Okay, that we need to check to keep it as a checklist. Then we need to have we need to do the smoke testing once to check whether the functionality is working with that particular user or not. Um, then, yeah.
Right. So what you can do is you can actually create a checklist. A checklist will have some definite steps, like 8 to 10 steps. Okay, this particular step is completed. This after successful completion of the checklist only, you will deploy the bot into the production environment. In future, if some other new kind of error comes, then you will add that in the checklist once again, so that from the upcoming bot, those kind of issues are not being faced and production failures don't occur, right?
Yeah.
So that also can be the one of the reasons. Okay, so now you have got multiple level of experience in the profile. So I was going through your resume. You are doing RPA work as well as you are doing software testing work. So which kind of profile would you like to take up in the career ahead in the future? Let's say going down the lane afterwards. You have already 7 years of experience.
Yeah, right. As I've done testing in RPA, so I just started learning those automation anywhere platform development as well. So I'm just thinking to start development to work on the development part of automation anywhere RPA.
Right, right. So, see, automation anywhere development is not that difficult, right? You can
Yeah.
easily, yeah, you can easily learn 2 or 3 commands. See, object loading is one of the command that you should definitely learn. It will help you to automate most of the things. Then after object learning, you will have other commands also in which PDF related things are there. Then again in
Email
automation,
automation.
email automation is pretty simple. You can just send your emails, you can retrieve your emails, right? Then you can learn file folders things. Those are also an important
Hmm.
components, right?
Yeah.
Then PDF integration, you can learn IQ bots. So that will help
Hmm.
you to create a, you can learn, now I think Metabot is also merged with the
Yeah.
editor itself. So
Yeah.
yeah, so those things are really helpful. And those few of the commands which I just mentioned, 5 to 10 commands. So they have almost a list of 500 plus kind of commands in their editor, maybe more than that. I don't know about
Hmm.
the recent version, but these 5 to 10 commands, if you will get a good grip on them, if you practice day in and day out with these 5 to 10 commands, definitely your development skills are going to increase, are going to, get matured at a very quicker rate, right? So these things you should try. Okay. Now, which are the different best practices that one should follow when you write the code in the automation anywhere?
Write code and automation.
Hmm.
We need to split that particular functionality as a module so that it can be reused in other components as well. If it
Hmm.
based on the functionality, we can reuse for the other modules as well.
Hmm.
So we need to consider in the reusable part, and also if we found any issues in the, if we are combining 2 or 3 functionalities, for example, launching and the payment together as a module, now it is difficult for us to change if we found any issues. So
Hmm.
splitting each functionality, each for example, login as a particular component, it will be useful for us to fix those issues or to even debugging that particular issue is easy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then it should be the overall program should be what to say, it should be understandable as it is user friendly. Anyhow, the users or any other new developer comes in, they will understand as well. Then for each module we need to give a proper module name for better understanding whether what is developed inside this particular module.
Hmm.
And also we will be having a configuration sheet for that configuration file, so it should be handy.
Hmm.
Then we need to mention the dynamic parameters over there.
Hmm.
These are the parameters we need to concentrate.
Right, right. So whenever someone asks you about the best practices, so you can tell them, see, first of all, you should have comments in the code section, right? You should have comments with who has written
uh,
that particular code, what is the use of that code, what
hmm,
problem does that code is solving, right? That does that code solves, right? So those, that is one of the comments that you should have.
yes.
Then second thing is the data input related things. So you don't have to unnecessarily input the data, right? Generally what people do, they will, if they want to use set text, if they want to use append text, so they will write text over there itself in that code. But you can use external files. You can read from text file. You can read from CSV file,
Hmm,
right? You can read from Excel also. You can read from database also. So
hmm,
those all possibilities are there in automation anywhere. So definitely you should do. Not only in automation anywhere, it's there in any RPA tool. Even in UiPath, even in Blue Prism, even Microsoft Power Automate, those things are there, right? Then the remote data. Let's say if you want to take the data from some particular server or some particular, temp or network share, right? Then you should avoid those kind of getting those data, because what if the network is not reachable when the bot is running? Maybe
hmm,
for development, you might would have connected 40 client for now and you are establishing a connection manually. But what will happen when the bot is running at night? You won't be there to see the 40 client connection, right? So that is one of the aspect. Then third is the credentials security. So you might be having credentials, username, password in your bot. So those should be stored in the credential vault. You should be
What
using credential managers for that. You should not be writing those username password in the plain text of the
directly?
code itself.
Mm.
Right? Then you should create multiple bots, right? So separation of duties. Let's say if bot A is there, it is just taking care of login. Bot B is there, it is just taking care of adding product to the cart. Bot C is there, it is taking care of the payment thing. So modular approach should be there. You should, you know, separate all the responsibilities of the bot, because if something fails, then the entire bot will be compromised.
Yeah.
Right? So building smaller individual bots will help you to in the maintenance also in the long run as well, right? So that is there. I think this is fine. Okay. Okay, are you aware about the string operation commands that are used in the automation environment?
String commands.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, so in
no.
string, yeah, so string operation commands are there which are helpful to perform various actions like length of that string. You can trim the string, you can compare, you can convert them to lowercase, you can find some particular character in the string, you can apply before after operations, you can split the string, you can reverse the string. So these are the various options that are available in the string command.
String commands.
Yeah. Now, can you tell in on a very high level, how does go live happen? For let's say you are testing some particular bot A, which is related to e-commerce domain, right? Now, how will go live happen? So what all things you will do before you sign off or before you give a green signal?
The test UAT execution, we will be completing it. Okay, once it is
Mhm.
completed, we'll be preparing the RTM. So we are making sure all the requirements are covered and tested correctly. And we need to check whether the defects which are raised against are resolved. Then after that, if everything works good in UAT, then we are moving to production environment. That means go live. What we'll be doing now, we need to prepare the checklist as we discussed before, like user credential, what is the environment, and what are the input and output folder paths, whether the user is having those access to those folders or the files available.
Mhm.
Then once it is done, we'll be doing the smoke test after the code movement in automation anywhere to the production control room.
Mhm.
Once it is done, we will be running the bot in prod and testing the same.
Mhm. Okay.
Once it is, if it is failed in the smoke test, we will be doing the root cause analysis for that particular
Mhm.
defect, whether why, what is the reason why it is, yeah, we're getting that issue,
Correct, correct. Yes, yes.
and taking action depends on that.
Mhm. Okay. So, do you run the bot in the production environment as a part of smoke test?
Yeah, in from a prod control room, we will be doing as
Okay.
a part of smoke testing.
Right. And then you will be deleting the dummy test data that would have got generated due to that run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Fine.
And also we request some production data as well from the users SMEs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Yes. So that is also there. Hmm. Do you, at the time of testing, how do you test the bot? Like, do you see that bot is doing end-to-end things? Do you see those,
Yeah,
you sit before that machine?
yeah. It's a kind of a attended run I'll be doing, so that if we found any issues while running, no, I'll directly report it to the developer.
Mm,
Some kind of testing will be in a unattended form in a server itself from
mm,
cloud. I'll run the bot overnight and validate in the next day.
mm.
That kind of testing also I've done.
So how do you
If for a
validate?
bulk,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
If I have a bulk record of around 300 records and all, I can't sit and watch, right? So I'll run those records overnight and validate the next day. Even there, we will be testing the bulk run for the peak data, whether it is taking the how much of time it is taking for the 300 records to process in that particular bot.
So how do you validate the overnight run? Let's say some bot has run for 4 hours, processing multiple
Yeah.
records at night. So how do you validate in the morning when you come that that bot has run successfully, ran successfully?
Yeah, we will be receiving the output file as a input for the tester, RPA tester. I'll take, for example, I'll take the email thing. Okay, what happens now? Based on the email, it needs to move those emails to different folders with the keywords. Okay, so if 300 emails are placed as unread now, I'll have those report in the form of email. So I cross verify whether those emails are correctly moved to 3 different folders.
Mm.
Okay, after an AP folder, then exception folder, we have separate folders. Based on the keywords, those emails will be moved in different folder. It's a single board operation. After this completion, the second operation, the second performance of the bot will be continued.
Okay, so one is the output file. Second is you would be having some logs getting generated.
Yeah, audit
Those
log
log
and
files.
also error log we have. Based on that, also we can will be getting it.
Right, right. Okay. So Shanmati, I'm done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, thank you so much for your time, so for taking a mock interview.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. And also one more, yeah, I need the feedback
Mhm.
from.
So I think you have got good knowledge in, and you are testing it thoroughly. So I don't think getting RPA job with respect to testing will be difficult for you. But I strongly feel you should learn RPA development. Then you will be making a lot of money, right? From
Mm,
financial also, there is a lot of growth when you actually start developing, designing those bots by yourself. And as
okay.
you are already testing them, so you are aware about look and feel. You are aware
Mm,
50 to 60% about how the things are working. It's now just that you will have to, learn how to design those bots using
yeah,
multiple commands that are available.
comments.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Test all looks good, right? And it's not like a software testing. When you do testing, you cannot develop. When you do development, you cannot test. In RPA, people who develop the bot, they only test
They
it.
are doing testing.
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
If you go in the big MNCs, they have got those much of funds that they will be a different team of development and testing. But if
Mm,
you see in small scale or mid scale companies, developers are only the ones who are testing. And that is an advantage also because
multiple tasks
multiple tasks you are
simultaneously.
doing, you are having multiple responsibilities. So automatically you will be able
Mm,
to get more
mm,
financially and everything. So that's it, Sharmati. Yeah. Thank you so
yeah.
much for joining tonight
Thank
and
you.
wish you all the best for your career.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.